The firestorm. And then came the roar. An engine thundered up Main Street. Cole rolled onto one elbow just in time to see the semi fishtailing toward the intersection. The trailer swung wide behind it, tires shrieking across the pavement. Something about it was wrong immediately. No horn, no visible attempt to correct. The cab barreled forward at impossible speed for a town this small. Then the rig jackknifed. Cole didn't think. Training took over before the pain could. He forced himself towards the narrow service lane between the post office and the neighboring building. His back screamed from the impact with the memorial stone. His ribs ground together every time he pulled himself forward. A dumpster sat halfway down the narrow gap. Cole collapsed behind it, just as the world erupted. The trailer whipped sideways across the intersection and slammed into the building across from the post office, with a grinding scream of twisting metal.
The lattice calls, I hear it still, beyond the river, beyond the hill. They hunt the trail, they track the prey, but wolves don't run the hunter's way.
The impact ruptured the fuel tank almost instantly. Diesel sprayed across the pavement in shimmering arc. The explosion hit like a giant hammer. Heat rolled through the service lane in a violent wave. The pressure slammed into the dumpster hard enough to shove it sideways across the concrete. Glass burst outward from the post office windows in a storm of glittering fragments. The air itself seemed to flex around him. Then came the fire. Orange light surged across the intersection, followed by thick black smoke boiling upward into the cold morning sky. Burning diesel spread across the pavement in rolling sheets, flames reflecting off shattered glass and twisted metal. Cole pressed himself flat against the frozen ground, breathing through smoke and dust. His ears rang violently. For several seconds he heard almost nothing except the crackle of fire and the distant metallic groan of the ruined trailer settling into itself. Then the screaming started. Shouts echoed across the crossroads. Someone yelled for help. Another voice screamed a name over and over again, somewhere beyond the flames. Across the street, bay doors at the fire station rattled upward. Cole kept his head down. The smell hit him next, burning fuel, melted insulation, hot metal, and beneath it something worse. His stomach tightened. He shifted slightly and nearly blacked out from the pain in his ribs. Training forced him to compartmentalize it immediately. Back trauma, possible cracked ribs, deep laceration along the side, smoke inhalation risk, mobility compromised but functional. Facts. Just facts. He pushed the pain aside and listened. Sirens at the fire station bellowed from the top of a pole. Within the first 15 seconds, Cole had already gone through the mantra: stop, breathe, assess, act. He had already focused his mind, breathed as deeply as his wounded side would allow, and assumed a hostile presence. He was now seeking cover and concealment. Cole was already moving, hunched and limping behind the post office to his pickup truck that was positioned for quick exfiltration. No one had looked up when he floated. No one had seen. By the time help arrived, it would be another accident in a quiet town. The truth would stay buried for now, but he knew instinctively that this wasn't an accident. Escape. The drive back into the mountains was slow. Each rut and rock rattled his injured ribs. Every jolt sent pain spiking like white fire through his torso. His grip on the wheel was so tight the cracked vinyl cut into his palms. He quickly recalled his adopted self-assessment. No tourniquets were needed. He could breathe, but it was painful, so no serious chest wound. Thinking about his body limited the shock of being injured. No concussion. That's always good, he whispered to himself. His voice sounded foreign, ragged, and shallow. The steering wheel felt heavier in his hands, his focus shrinking to the next turn, the next bend in the dirt road. The mountains around him loomed like silent judges, their tree lines thick with frost. With his situation assessed, he turned quickly to a sit-rep mentality. He instantly focused on the who and then the how. This was not natural. Who would do this? For what reason and how was it done? At the hidden pull-off, he stashed his truck, killed the engine, and sat for a moment breathing shallow. His hands stayed on the wheel longer than necessary, fingers tight on the cracked vinyl. Leaving the truck felt like stepping into another world, one where no one would come looking and no one could help him. Then he slung his pack and started up the trail. But his body betrayed him. The pain in his ribs and back made every breath a shallow calculation. His thigh throbbed with each step, turning the climb into an exercise in endurance. He imagined each heartbeat pushing hot liquid into his muscle fibers, swelling them tighter. He pushed the thought aside, focusing instead on the icy wind clawing in his cheeks. External pain, clean and controllable. Every step was its own battle. The shale slid beneath his boots, forcing his thigh to work harder, the muscle knotting until it trembled with heat. His ribs ground together when he tried for a deeper breath, a grating reminder that one slip could leave him bleeding in the dark, with no way back. The cold gnawed at the sweat trapped under his shirt, chilling him as his body burned from exertion. He tightened his jaw and muttered the old cadence in his head. Step, breathe, step, breathe. The rhythm of men who had marched farther on less. Snowmelt from a higher ridge dripped in slow ticks off the rock lip, each drop sounding sharper in the thinning air. A pair of ravens shifted on the wind-gnarled branch, their black eyes following him as he passed. Still trying to understand what happened, Cole kept returning to the same impossible detail. The sensation at his waist. Not a pull exactly, more like the world had stopped holding him there. His hand drifted unconsciously to the waistband of the work pants. The fabric had always felt strange to him, coarse, but faintly slick beneath the fingers, heavier around the waist than it should have been. Foreign-made, cheap thrift store find. Yet when his feet had left the ground, that was where he'd felt it first. Right there, centered at the belt line. For a moment, the old memory surfaced uninvited. A memory of a skyhook extraction from his military years, being snatched violently into the air by passing aircraft. But this had been quieter, worse somehow. No cables, no aircraft, no explanation. The slope steepened, and the footing changed to fractured shale. His thigh burned, his back screamed, and his ribs stabbed every time he planted his makeshift trekking pole too hard. He paused once, leaning into the wind, letting the horizon spread beneath him. The calm valley was disturbed by a column of black smoke. The higher he climbed, the more the air sharpened, the more the valley below seemed unreal, like something behind a window. His shelter was out there somewhere, invisible until you were standing right on it. A trick of the stone and shadow.
A foreign tag within my hand, a mark from some forgotten land, the truth behind